What's up everybody? So I've just finished playing Death Stranding and I want to do my first game essence video about this game. And I know what you guys are thinking. What is this? What? I don't know this game essence. What? And that's a fair question. I'll tell you. Basically the idea is that when you're done watching this video you will have a pretty complete picture and a very good idea what this game is all about, how it feels, how it plays, generally speaking, without doing too many spoilers, what the story is about, how the atmosphere is like, what the difficulty is like, combats, missions and objectives, all of that. So first of all, before I begin, a few small remarks. Number one, if you guys love open world games and you played a lot of them and you feel like you're kind of getting a lot of the same, you feel like it's getting repetitive, and you want to try something new and refreshing, you definitely want to check this one out. This one is pretty different and refreshing. Now I know a lot of games have their uniqueness, but this one has got more uniqueness. So you definitely ought to give it a try, and you need to be a little patient with this one. Because it's different, it takes some time getting used to understanding what the game wants from you, etc. Remark number two, this game actually turned out to be way better than I expected. I've seen a few reviews and I watched some gameplay before I decided to play it. I thought it was a weird concept, but I thought, okay, whatever. It's got Norman Reedus in it, let's give it a try. And it really turned out to be way better than I expected. This game gives you a lot. It's a big game with a big story and a lot to do, so those are my opening remarks about this game. So now, since the story and atmosphere of this game are such a central and key components, I'm gonna start by talking about them, again, without doing too many spoilers. I'm gonna give you a general overview of the background story, how the game feels. What I am not going to do in this video is give you a comprehensive explanation of the story and lore and ending of this game. If you guys are looking for that, there are other videos out there. Go someplace else! So this game is the product of the brilliant and bizarre mind of Hideo Kojima. He's the guy behind Metal Gear Solid as well. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let me just tell you, if you're watching Kojima's work, get ready to see some weird shit. Like this, for example. See that? Yeah, that's the stuff of nightmares, okay? That's not even your character having a bad dream. That is really happening in the world of the game. So the background story in general. This game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where a series of sort of explosions known as void-outs have wiped out most of the population. Well, obviously. Breaking the barrier between sort of the world of the living and the world of the dead. Now I know it sounds like there's gonna be a bunch of zombies or demons running around like have the games out there, but no, as I said, this one is different. When I'm saying the world of the dead in the context of this game, I'm referring to a place known as the beach. The beach is sort of a alternate universe or a parallel dimension, if you will, where your non-physical self, sort of your soul, goes to when you die. Now, it's not your final death, which they refer to, I believe, as the great beyond. So I guess you can say the beach is sort of a purgatory place. By the way, I'm saying sort of a lot because the story of this game is only sort of understandable. And now, in this strange post-apocalyptic world of Death Stranding, the reality of the beach sort of bleeds into our world, causing all sorts of weird phenomenons, which I will talk about in a minute. Now, the people who have survived the void-outs, what is left of humanity, are now living in underground fortified cities or bunkers that are spread out all over the place. And it's a really bad idea to go outside. And they're dependent on supplies to be delivered to them to survive. Which is where you come in. Your character is named Sam Porter, because that's what he is, a porter. You're basically a delivering man delivering supplies to those different cities and bunkers. Sounds boring, right? Well, let me assure you, it's not. In fact, it can get pretty stressful. So that is basically the background story, and I will expand on those phenomenons I mentioned earlier in a minute. Now, the actual story of the game, again, without doing any major spoilers, your character is being tasked by the leadership of the country that no longer exists to cross the country and connect all those different cities and bunkers across the nation to what is known as the chiral network. Sort of a futuristic internet, allowing what's left of humanity in the former United States of America to cooperate and be something resembling a nation again, the UCA, the United Cities of America. So now let me put you inside the atmosphere of this game so you know how this world feels. And here I'm gonna mention those phenomenons that I talked about earlier that prevent people from going outside and make your life difficult and stressful as a delivery man. First of all, because there are no people running around except for porters maybe, the land is barren and harsh. The landscapes are treacherous. You're navigating through rocky ground, steep mountains, deep valleys, rivers, snowy mountains. Not an easy environment to get around. Next we have what is referred to as timefall, which looks like regular old rain, but it's a nasty rain which causes everything it touches to age extremely rapidly. If a drop of timefall touches your skin, that spot will become old and wrinkled within a matter of seconds. And this rain is pouring down from the sky on and off all over the place. Next we have enemies crawling all over the place, obviously. You have your human enemies and you have your BTs. What are BTs? BT stands for beach things, and they are entities native to the beach that, as I said, bleed into our world. And they come in several forms. Some of them have sort of a human form, and they are these sort of ghostly creatures floating around in the air with lines connecting them to the ground, which turn out to be ghostly umbilical cords. Yeah. And they're hunting for humans. You need to be really quiet and stealthy when they're around, because if they notice you, that's when the weird shit starts. You basically get pulled into a sea of nightmarish tar with parts of cities and cars floating around, and a big BT which is either a tar whale or a squid octopus or a huge monstrous lion thing that shoots stuff at you from its face, or some other forms that I don't want to spoil for you guys. And that thing attacks you and tries to consume you. And whenever a BT manages to consume a human, it creates another void out, and it's bad. So that's basically what BTs are. Now your human enemies are usually these assholes called mules. They basically wanna steal your packages. Also, there are human terrorists. Now when you fight your human enemies, you need to be careful not to kill them. Because when a person dies in this world of Death Stranding, you have about 48 hours to incinerate the body before it begins necrotizing, which means that the BTs use the dead body to flow into our world. So basically, dead bodies that have not been incinerated within 48 hours just start having BTs coming out of them. So don't kill anyone. Yeah. Next we have dooms. Dooms is a condition that some people have that gives them a strong connection to the beach, sort of allowing them going in and out of the beach, which actually gives them pretty cool abilities. You can teleport, because obviously time and space work differently in the beach, or you can be a repatriant, which is what your character is, which basically means you can't die. You can come back from the beach and resurrect. People who have dooms are also allergic to chiralium. Chiralium is a material or element native to the beach, and humans have actually used it to invent all sorts of cool futuristic technologies, like chiral printers, which are basically 3D printers that use chiralium that can print all sorts of complicated structures and equipment. Also, the chiral network that you're spreading around the country is based on chiralium. Next, we have BBs. Not this guy. Did you guys happen to notice this guy has a little baby carried in an incubator on his stomach? Those are called BBs, which stands for bridge babies. BBs are fetuses taken out at certain stages of the pregnancy from still mothers, meaning brain dead women, and they have a very strong connection to the beach. So they are actually being used as equipment to spot BTs, because you can't actually see BTs unless you've got really advanced stages of dooms. So your BB connects to your scanner, the thing on your back that scans your environment. He can spot BTs and tell you where they are. So don't leave home without a BB. So that, boys and girls, is basically the background story, the story and atmosphere that you'll be working with in this game. Now, sarcasm aside, this is actually a pretty well-crafted work of science fiction. I can really appreciate it when a creator of a science fiction story really thinks it through. When the fictional world actually has a rich terminology and a lot of details and little nuances of how life is like in this world, it really helps it to feel real and for you to be sucked into it and enjoy the experience. And this work of science fiction is definitely that. Although somewhat difficult to comprehend and to get your mind around, it's good, it works, and you can really feel that a lot of thought and work has been invested in it. So now let's talk about the actual gameplay, which you have been watching playing in the background since the video began. As you've probably pieced together by now, mostly what you do is deliver cargo from one place to another, traveling treacherous landscapes, trying to avoid or fight different kinds of enemies. So let's talk a little about the combats. As I said, you fight humans and you fight BTs. At the early stages of the game, your best bet is to avoid fights. You don't really have much means for a fight at the beginning, but as you progress you gain weapons and equipment. Now you can stealth your way by a BT by crouching and holding your breath. Not for too long, but it's doable. You can usually just sneak by them. Your human enemies, the mules, usually have their territories which are marked on the map, then you can just avoid. You can stealth by them as well, but it's a little more difficult because they have a little scanners of their own and they scan for your cargo which they want to steal. So they can basically find you even if you hide. Now the combats throughout the game, apart from a few parts, are not all that challenging. You basically take out a mule by punching and kicking them a few times, or later on shooting them with a few non-lethal rounds. Remember, no killing. And it's a piece of cake. You can get overrun by a whole bunch of mules that can take you out, but generally speaking, it's not all that difficult. Once you get the means to fight BTs, though stressful and scary, they're not so difficult either. You basically take a BT out using a few anti-BT grenades, not much of a big deal. There are, however, a few difficult fights later on in the game, but I'm not gonna give you too much spoilers about those. So what you're mostly doing and where most of the challenge lies is in the planning and strategizing of routes to do your deliveries. In that regard, there are a lot of details to take into account. Some packages are time sensitive. Some packages have to be carried horizontally. Some packages are vibrations and heat sensitive, so it might not be a very good idea to load them on a vehicle, which you will have access to later in the game. Some packages are really heavy. What route are you gonna take to deliver your package? What obstacles are on the way? Are there any enemies on the way? Are there any BTs? Any mule camps? What kind of weapons should you bring with you? When you carry your packages through Timefall, they become old, remember? That nasty rain makes everything age rapidly. So after too much time in Timefall, your containers get destroyed, and then the goods get destroyed, and then you'll need to redeploy them. What kind of ground will you be walking on? What equipment should you take with you? Will you be needing ladders? Climbing anchors? Later on in the game, you'll get some robotic skeletons that you can put on that help you walk around. But there are several types of those. Some of them allow you to carry more weight, some of them allow you to move with more speed, some of them allow you to climb or move through snow better. Which skeleton should you take with you? Should you take a vehicle with you? Vehicles are awesome in this game, especially the bikes, but for some routes they can be a really bad idea. Should you take a portable chiral printer with you? You might need to build a generator along the way to charge your robotic skeleton or vehicle if it's a long way to go. And each piece of new equipment that you gain adds more decisions that you need to take. You can only carry so much equipment, so there are a lot of decisions to be made, a lot of strategizing. Now you will find yourself spending considerable time going through menus, planning all this stuff. In each city or bunker you arrive, there is a terminal where you can submit packages, take on orders, fabricate equipment, gain equipment, use your private locker, shared locker, which I will talk about in a second. And you'll find yourself spending considerable time placing all the different pieces of equipment on your suit or vehicle, planning the whole trip before the actual execution. Some of the missions, or orders rather, are like carry this package from me to this bunker. Some of them are like recover a stolen package from a mule camp and bring it to me. Some of them are go find some lost package in some canyon and bring it back, where there are obviously BTs lurking around. And then when you arrive at your destination, deliver your cargo, get a whole bunch of compliments of how great you are, maybe even get a new piece of equipment if you've done enough work for that particular city or bunker, and then you can go rest and recharge in your private room when you're all dirty and covered with tar and dirt and poop because you pooped your pants. Guys, don't take seriously everything I say, okay? You can go rest in your private room where there are a bunch of Monster Energy drinks and a shower and a toilet and your BB gets refreshed. It's nice! Now one more thing I want to talk about is other players. A cool feature of this game is that you can sort of non-directly interact with other players. You can use structures that other players build. Like for example, if someone used a ladder to cross some river, that ladder stays there and then you can use it. And you can see the username of the player who left it there and you can like it. And they can see your like. Ain't that just nice? Same goes for more complex structures. Bridges, generators, these little stations that repair your cargo which became old because of the timefall. All sorts of stuff. Also, there are shared lockers at the terminals when you can drop off packages that other players lost, and you can donate equipment, and you can collect equipment that has been donated by other players, and it's pretty awesome. Another general thing that I'm gonna mention about the gameplay is that it's well made in the sense that whenever you feel that the game is getting repetitive and you're just grinding the same kind of missions again and again, the game gives you something new. It's got a good pace of renewal, you know? You get a new piece of equipment, you need to go to a different area where there are different landscapes and you need to deal with new things, new obstacles, new challenges. The game is good at refreshing your experience. So there you have it, you guys. Now you know what the background story of this game is, how the atmosphere feels, what the gameplay is like, what the combats are like, what the difficulty is like, what the objectives and missions of the game is like, and you can make an educated decision whether or not you want to play this game. I personally strongly recommend it. It's a really good game, I really enjoyed it. As I said, it surprised me for the better. It's a well-crafted work of science fiction, it's a well-crafted game. A lot of thought and effort was put into this game, you can really feel it. There's a lot of equipment, a lot of details, a lot of story, a lot to work with. As a general review score, I'm gonna give this game a 9. Taking down a notch because maybe the story sometimes can get a little too weird, and maybe the constant browsing through the menus can get a little tedious, but it's not so bad. Generally speaking, it's an awesome game, I really loved it, I really enjoyed it, I really recommend it. Hope you guys like this video. You can like it, you can share it, you can comment down in the comment section. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.